Agarwal from IMAI. Welcome to the workshop on rising new trends in financial fraud. We would like to first begin by thanking you all for being a part of Pursuit 2021, Combating Financial Frauds with Technology. This event is supported by Invest India and Startup India. We would like to thank our session partner, Refinitiv, Gold partner, Ricata, Bronze partner on Fido, and Knowledge partner, Even. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Rakshit Tandon, Director and Co-founder, Active Technology, Advisor, Cyber Peace Foundation, Cybersecurity Consultant, IMAI, and Advisory Cybercrime Cell State Police. He will be hosting today's workshop. Welcome, Mr. Tandon. Over to you.
Namaskar, Shivani. Thank you so much. Welcome all dear participants. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Internet and Mobile Association of India, for giving me this opportunity to come to Pursuit 2021. Thanks to all the sponsors who have supported our event. And the subject is very crucial, rising trends in financial fraud. Especially this 1.5 year of pandemic, what we have seen, the tremendous rise in the cyber crimes, and especially on the financial sector where they are trying to target your money. So every modus operandi which has been coming out, and that is what I'll try to do in this session today, to make you aware of all the different modus operandi which we are seeing, and how the trend is rising, and what are the measures that initially the government is taking to protect such frauds, and what an individual can do to protect himself. So without delay, I will start this session. I'll be sharing my screen and a presentation, small slides which will take you through. So I think there are total 20 types of variants which I have covered in this workshop, which I'll be talking about, the trends, the new trends in financial fraud. Just to give you an introduction, I've been doing this as a consultant with Internet and Mobile Association of India, with Cyber Peace Foundation, and my company Hackershala. I've been working in this domain for 20 years now, and my major experience comes from the law enforcement agencies. I do a lot of trainings with the law enforcement agencies. I started this in 2008, and also I've been working as advisor at time to time, consulting them, helping them solving these crimes, all the digital footprinting and digital investigation. And also I've been working since 2013 as a chief mentor and coordinator for creating cyber ambassadors with Gurugram Police, which is called the Gurugram Police Summer Internship Program. Just this last Monday, we have finished one of our 9th batch of our summer internship with 5,800 brand ambassadors of Gurugram Police who have been trained on the 360-degree view of cybersecurity for a month, free of cost. And we have been doing it since 2013. So these are some of my activities which I do. This was just to introduce myself. Today in this session, I'll be talking about what are the different modus operandi and types of financial frauds we have seen typically. So if you go back to 2019, before the pandemic, so yes, the financial frauds were there. There were all types of attacks. We were seeing ATM frauds. We were seeing credit card frauds. We were seeing phishing, calling and spoofing you. But then during the lockdown, one thing happened was that the physical connect finished. People were not moving out, and the traffic on internet increased. Everything went online. So we were working from home. So we were 24/7 connected. So the traveling time and the physical meeting time was also on internet. So whether you are a student or whether you are a working professional, everything was happening online. And when this traffic increased, obviously, when the traffic on highway increased, there is always a risk of accidents as well. And same happened here. There was a tremendous surge in the financial fraud. And if we talk about the modus operandi, right from the financial instruments to social media, we have seen different types of attacks. And the first and the most common and the most dangerous was the eSIM fraud. Let me explain this eSIM fraud. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but it is called embedded SIM. There are handsets like Samsung and Apple where you can only support one SIM in a tray. But suppose you want 2 numbers in that handset, you need a second number. Then you cannot put a SIM card in that phone. You need to go for a embedded SIM or a programmable SIM. So when these companies started their embedded SIM, and especially during the lockdown when you were physically not available. You cannot go out. The markets were closed. So this company started an online process that from your registered number, if you send your email ID to them, they will generate a QR code and send it back to you. The moment you scan that QR code, your eSIM will get activated. Now, this was a lucrative moment for the hackers and they got into the blast. Every crime, I'm telling you with my experience in financial fraud, every crime is directly connected to data breaches. Why I'm saying this? Data becomes these data breaches, they become a fertile ground for our cyber criminals to commit crime. So I'm going to tell you this case study which happened in Noida in July 2020 during the lockdown. I have personally met around 28 victims. I'm telling you a story of first victim. She's a lady, works in a multinational company in Gurugram, staying in Noida, working from home. She receives a call saying that I'm calling from Airtel, ma'am, and your number need to be, a KYC need to be done, otherwise we will block your SIM card. The lady said, first of all, you are calling me from a private number, so how do I believe whether you are from Airtel or not? So again, this person said, no, madam, we are also working from home. So that is why we have to use a private number. But actually, I'm calling you from Airtel only. I can tell you, your SIM card was purchased on so-and-so date, number one. You have done 3 last payments of so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so amount. Your mother's name on the form is so-and-so. And you purchased the SIM card from so-and-so vendor. Now the lady was a little shocked and she said, yes, you are right. That means he is actually calling from Airtel. Bole, then what do I have to do? Bole, ma'am, I'm not asking anything from you. I'm not asking your password or OTP. You just send one SMS to 121. And what was the SMS? The SMS that person said was, you have to send this SMS saying eSIM Airtel verification at gmail.com. That is the SMS you have to send to 121. Now, participants, just try and understand. First of all, this email, Airtel verification, anybody can go and create this email on Gmail. Right now, I can create an email, Prime Minister of India @gmail.com. Nobody is coming and verifying me and checking me. So, but the lady, she got duped and she sent this message. The moment she sent the message, her SIM card got blocked for some time and the hacker activated her eSIM by scanning the QR code which was received on that email. Now what happened? A SIM card got activated. Dear participants, today in the cyber ecosystem, 2 things are very important, your email ID and your SIM card. And we call it the digital identity of this ecosystem. Today, my bank doesn't recognize me. My bank recognizes my SIM number. Debit card, OTP. Credit card, OTP. Net banking, OTP. Mobile banking, OTP. UPI, OTP. And where are these OTP landing? They are landing on your SIM card. And now who has your SIM card? The hacker has activated your SIM card. This typical modus operandi is called SIM swapping, and a very dangerous crime because the moment you lose your SIM, your bank is gone. So this person told the lady that, madam, you'll have to wait for some time for the reactivation. So please be careful. So, and don't bother, your SIM will automatically get activated. And the lady kept on waiting for 2 days. As per the new rules of government, what is the precaution here? As per the new rules of government, even if you issue your own SIM card, listen to me, if you issue your own SIM card, your SMS will not get activated before 24 hours. So the lady had a span of 24 hours. If she would have been alert, she could have gone to the bank and put a debit freeze on the bank. She could have gone to the mobile company and get her number back. But unlucky, she was quiet for 48 hours. And when she reached her bank, she came to know that she has lost her money. 12 lakh rupees was stolen from her account. So participants, the first message which is very clear is that you have to be very careful with the SIM card which you are using in your bank, and you have to be very careful of hackers calling you and verifying your details. One more data crime is happening these days, especially with our old people. or I can call senior citizens, or people who are retired from job. Somehow these hackers have got hold of their pension data, and now they are calling these retired members and asking them to verify their details. And in this verification process, they are able to tell them all their posting, when and where they were posted. So they were posted in 1972 in Agra, then you were posted in 1975 in Allahabad, something like this they are speaking, and they are sending a link, and from that link they are hacking into their bank account and they are stealing their money. So the whole crunch here is that in organizations, data is the new gold and the new oil, and the companies should be proactive in protecting their data, the crucial data of the customers. Till date, we are waiting for our data protection bill, but whenever it comes, before that, organizations need to protect our data, because this data is becoming a gold mine for hackers right now. So this SIM swapping is one of the trending frauds right now. And this is the worst one, because once your SIM is gone, or you understand your digital identity is gone. Then the second, which is again, America also could not do anything, and you have heard the Kazia attack, and now that is the new method of attacking. They are not attacking individuals. They are not getting money in individuals. I attack one Rakshit Tandon or one Shivani. That is not going to help me. I will attack a whole lot of a good software company which has a lot of suppliers and a lot of members connected to it. And that is what you have seen in the last two attacks, the SolarWind attack and the Kazia attack. This latest Kazia attack on the Independence Day of America, more than 500 companies were infected. We have also seen this attack last year also with what was that? Remote support, AnyDesk. It was a very ME admin or something like this. There was an application whose server was infected with ransomware. So now the hackers are targeting software companies, and through that they are filtering their virus into your computer. So suppose I am a user of a very popular software developed by Rakshit Tandon, and Rakshit Tandon software is used in 500 companies. So the hacker will attack Rakshit Tandon company rather than attacking individual companies. And ransomware is a weakness both of internet. So that this cryptography encryption, which used to be our strength, is being exploited by the hackers to blackmail you. So this is a new trending crime called what you call it, digital kidnapping. So now physical kidnapping is one thing. Now they are doing digital kidnapping. So I am an e-company. All my data is running on computer. I'm running my whole organization through that digital framework. And one fine day, I open my computer and they are all gone. Attacking is done through servers, through emails, through malicious attachments, and one has to maintain very good cyber hygiene. During this lockdown, personally, the kind of penetration I have with people, must have received 100 odd complaints from small corporates, from SMEs, from corporates, from individuals, from photographers, from fashion models, who have lost all their data to the ransomware, and now they are asking ransom. And most of them, again, I have received from a lot of chartered accountants, and they were also worried because they were having data of their own clients. So the attack is very simple. It comes through an email, you have an attachment, they execute the PowerShell, and they put the payload on your computer, they encrypt each and every file, and now finally you just see one screen that give me ransom, otherwise all your data will be removed and you will not get your data back. And the ransom they claim is in cryptocurrency. And if you remember, the last attack which happened on the Independence Day because of Kazia software was about $70 million. And in this $70 and $70 million, and Colonial Pipeline, which was another massive attack on America, where the pipeline got disrupted. They had to pay a ransom of 4.4 million, and lucky FBI, they could recover 2.4 million back. But it's not that India has not been touched by these attacks. We have seen recently in the lockdown, we heard that a very famous food chain called Haldiram was attacked, and $7.5 lakh was claimed as a ransom. So ransomware is another trending thing. Now this is really worrying. We were talking of online data breaches, Domino data breach, Air India data breach, and now the hackers, Big Basket data breach. But have you heard that offline data breach can also commit a crime? So this crime was reported, and recently my Haryana cyber cell in Palwal busted this gang. And after that, I have heard three different states having same problem. In Haryana, Rajasthan, and now Uttar Pradesh also, we have got 2-3 cases in Kanpur and in Jhansi. So what the hackers modus operandi is very simple. They go and they steal the land records from the registry department. They steal the land record, the photocopy of the land record. So first they go and get hold of your registry photocopy. In every registry today, you have your biometric, that is your finger thumbprint, and you also have your Aadhaar number. Now, if you all remember, Government of India had a scheme called AEPS. It is called Aadhaar Enabled Payment System. So they have exploited this system. So what we found, we first of all got alerted when we got 41 FIRs in a week's time, and 30 to 50 lakh rupees was stolen. So then the police was on high alert, and then what we found, that these hackers, they are taking the photocopy. From those photocopy, with the help of a photochromatic gel, they were creating cloned rubber stamps of your biometrics. Cloned rubber stamps. And now they had your Aadhaar number and bank account number from the registry. They went on the FingPay. If you have heard the application FingPay, which is a AEPS application, they entered the Aadhaar number, they put the clone stamp, and the money was out. Money was out. 5 people were arrested, and they were having 270 SIM cards, 2078 copies of registries. And this is all in the media. You can get it from the media. Fingerprint rubber stamp machine, 2078 copies of registry, 21 PAN cards, and 6 passport size photographs, and 5 Aadhaar cards, and a pen drive. And we had 41 complaints, and around lakhs of rupees was stolen. Now, this is a big warning here, that even offline data, the data which is stored, can also create cyber crime. So now, see, we should learn from our mistakes. Now, all these enabled the payment systems, what we are using, it is the responsibility of these applications to have at least a double authentication method. Just my biometric and my Aadhaar number is not sufficient to verify as an individual. So this is the third modus operandi. Then data breaches, as I told, is becoming very interesting. So one lady, she did online shopping at 11 o'clock, and 11:05, after 5 minutes, she get a call. Madam, so-and-so, bole, yes. You did shopping on our website, bole, yes. You purchased this so-and-so kurta, bole, yes. You paid so much of amount, bole, yes. You paid amount from so-and-so card, bole, yes. Congratulations, you are a lucky winner of Tata Safari. Now, again, this is a pure case of data breach. Then your passwords are getting breached. I have been getting complaints in the lockdown. People, for money, financial frauds, they are exploiting your social media profiles. Either they are making a duplicate profile or they are hacking your profile. So somebody hacks my Facebook account due to some breach or something, and then they send messages to all my friends. Dear, I am in COVID situation. All my family members are positive. We are in hospital. We are financially drained out. Can you just send me 5,000 rupees for my medicine? I'll be very grateful. I will pay you back later. Now imagine one of your very close friend or a respected personality is sending such messages. What will your reaction be? You will immediately start helping. So data breaches are becoming a big threat. And let me tell you, you can all check also whether your data is safe or not. So this very interesting website called haveibeenpawned.com. This website, if you can open it on your screen, and please enter your email ID. So suppose your email ID is cyberexpert10@gmail.com. You will come to know whether your data. So my data has been breached one time, and my data was breached on a website called Canva. And now I compromised my email, location, and password. So now that means somewhere on the dark web, my password is available. And we know our cyber hygiene is very poor. All my passwords are same. I don't change passwords. I have not changed my password since last 5 years. So then again, you can become a victim of this scam called the email extortion scam. One day you will find the email in your inbox, dear Rakshit Tandon, your password is so and so. I want to bring your 100% attention. I have hacked your computer. I have consisted all your private things which you are doing at home. I have done all recordings. Now I have the full recording. Now don't mess around. You pay me $2,000 in Bitcoin. Otherwise, I will leak all your data. This is my address. You have to pay on this address. Now, anyone who receives such a mail, he will be scared. Why? Because actually he's printing the password and he's printing the right password. How did he got the password? He got the password because of these beautiful data breaches which are happening every second day. Zomato data breach, Big Basket data breach, and the hackers are selling this data on dark web. And when they get hold of this data, they exploit you. So the first message here is cyber hygiene. Number one, all my passwords are different and I keep changing. And the only guru mantra to protect your identity today on internet is a double authentication. We call it two-factor authentication. Whether it is my Gmail, whether it is my Apple ID, whether it is my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, business email, all should have a two-factor authentication. I am not dependent on the password. Passwords can be hacked, passwords can be breached. So a double authentication is very, very important. So these are the different type of scams. Then phishing. And phishing is becoming day by day very intelligent and sophisticated. So if you see this, I will just show you that how hackers can also use the government tools, the government website. So one of my friend only, he's a doctor, he wanted to apply for a PAN card. So normally what we do, we just go on Google and we write PAN card apply. And he starts showing us the website. And I just clicked on the first website. I paid some money and I'm waiting for my PAN card. And they're actually advertisements. You can see it is written on Google, or these are advertisements. The actual website of Government of India for application of PAN card is coming here on the 4th number. So hackers, they are using the technology to fool you, using search engine optimization, using Google ads to push their websites on the top. So even today, if officially you open the Government of India website for passport, for example, so you will not see the website first. You will see an advisory coming up. And this website is passportindia.gov.in. Every government website has to be on a government domain. But look at the alert. The alert is very clearly saying that be very careful of these fake websites. indiapassport.org, onlinepassportindia.com, passportindiaportal.in, blah, 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 blah. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to use domains which are matching the spelling. We call it typo squatting as well. And they are trying to fool us. So this is another financial fraud angle where they are trying to steal money and steal your data through these applications. So they have tried to make fake websites for even vaccination also. So you have to be very careful to differentiate between a real domain and a fake domain. Social media being very important, especially during lockdown, it became very important. Every information was coming through social media, whether it was Facebook, whether it was Instagram. So these hackers started playing there also. So they will use the logo of Facebook. They will make a very nice page name called Reconfirm. They will send you a message that your Facebook has been detected with some problem, or your Instagram has been detected. We are locking. And they will give you a link. They are targeting people who are verified. They are targeting people who are influencers. They have thousands of followers, 20,000, 50,000. They hack those pages. And once they get control of those pages, they try to make it a shopping site. So suppose there was a page with 20,000 followers and they are selling DSLR and instant booking, instant 10 days return, blah, blah, blah. And this poor child, he paid 13,000 rupees. I'm sharing a complaint also. I'm hiding his name here. And he was buying a Grofo 8 and from this Instagram. And then the moment he paid money, they blocked him. So the hackers are making fake shopping pages. And they are first hacking those influencers who have 20,000 followers. They change their name. So they first do a phishing attack, a targeting phishing attack. They hack your page, change the name to Shop 99, buy iPhone or blah, 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 and they steal your money. So this is another method of stealing money, and they are exploiting social media. And we all are very. Acha, what is a human tendency? I am going on the highway. There were 3 dhabas. On the first dhaba, there were 20 cars. On the second and third dhaba, there were no cars. So I would prefer to stop on that where there were 20 cars. That means this dhaba is extra good, very good. It is safe. There are 20 cars already standing there. So that is the kind of psychology we have. So when I get a message that DSLR or DSLR is available for 10,000 or 15,000 rupees, and when I go and visit this importer page, I see 20,000 followers. So that means it is a very good page. So I will immediately trust. So be very careful. This is another method very common in financial fraud. Then coming to this has been a biggest complaint of the lockdown. They make a friend online, they give you a video call. On the other side, there is a nude video. The call is recorded by a screen recorder, and you disconnect the call and they start sending you blackmailing, threatening messages. What they do meanwhile is they pick up all your friend list from your social media and they threaten you. And they also edit the video. So suppose I got a video call and I immediately picked it up. So in that, on one corner will be that nude video. On the other corner, my face is visible. They will edit as if I am participating in that call. And they will make it an edited clip and they will send it to you. And now they start blackmailing. I have been receiving many complaints. This is not only targeting individuals, but they are targeting businessmen, they are targeting elder people, they are targeting young boys. And today's online reputation is one everybody is very careful about. They are very scared about your online reputation. So the hackers are exploiting it to exploit money. They go to the tune of 5 lakh, 10 lakh rupees, depending upon the person capacity to pay. And they keep, and acha, in the modus operandi, they are also abusing Truecaller. So they go and they create a fake Truecaller account. In that Truecaller account, they call themselves SI Rakshit Tandon, Chanakya Puri Crime Branch. And then they use a picture of a person in a khaki vardi, which you can easily get from Google. And then they call you from this number that we are calling from Cyber Cell. We have received a complaint from this woman. She is saying that you are doing dirty calls with her and we will come and arrest or blah, blah. If you want to get out of the case, you please pay the damages of 50,000 rupees and your videos will be removed. So no police officer in the country can do this. No police officer will ever call you and threaten you like this or ask money. So please don't be a trap to all these crimes. They should be immediately reported. How to report that I will tell in the last. But this is another financial fraud which we are very worried about. Then on social media, because we are all active and especially we are working from home and we all need some variety. So suddenly you will see an advertisement using the name of a very popular restaurant. You buy one and get 2 thalis free. So now we are all working from home. So it's a very good lucrative offer. And normally when you go to Zomato's and all, you see such offers are coming. You buy this, you get 100%, 100 rupee off. You buy this, you get a cold drink free. So there's so much of consumerism all around that you actually believe this advertisement. And they will give you this number. Then they will send you a link. On that link, they will ask you to pay money. And the moment you pay money, your money is gone in the reverse direction. So you were supposed to pay, say, 100 rupees for the thali, but actually you fill 100 rupees on that form, but they deduct 20,000 rupees from your UPI. So this is called UPI masking. So they will send you a link which shows 100 rupees you are paying, but you are not actually paying 100. They have stolen much more money. So be very careful on social media of such advertisements. I don't know how many of you have received this message. I keep on receiving these messages every day. Dear customer, your ICICI Bank KYC is suspended. Please update your KYC or your bank will be blocked. They are using these URLs. And you click on the URL, it will take you to a ditto bank website, similar looking bank website, but the link is wrong. And the moment you enter your user ID password, they get access to your net banking and your money is gone. So no such private numbers can message you something like this. Be very careful. I remember a case recently of Kotak Mahindra Bank where a lady lost 3 lakh rupees because of this. And she entered a user ID password on the fake link, and she was a victim of this. This is very unhuman also. This is very, very bad that during the COVID crisis in the second wave, there were hackers who were misusing and looting people in the name of oxygen and medicines. So they were creating fake advertisements on social media. You used to call them, they would say, yes, we will give you the oxygen cylinder. They will ask you for advance money. And they were using names like Cipla Company, Cipla Foundation Limited, and they would cheat you to the tune of whatever they can, 20,000, 30,000. And that time people were so desperate for their loved ones. They needed oxygen, they needed medicine. And I'm sorry, but these hackers, they got to the extent. Many of them were arrested, especially Delhi police, UP, Rajasthan, MP. We have busted so many rackets and they were arrested, but people have lost their hard-earned money to these fraudsters. So be very careful on these numbers. You should always do a due diligence of these numbers. I'll show you also. It's very easy. You can install Truecaller on your browser also. You don't need to install it on your mobile. You can open Truecaller here. Suppose somebody is giving me oxygen from a number. So I will just go and type this number 9. What is the number? 960997124 So I will type this number and search on Truecaller and ask. So you can see it has been reported as COVID scam. 86 people have reported this number. It is a West Bengal number and it's a Vodafone number. So now if I'm getting this number for oxygen, for God's sake, I'm not calling this number because already 86 people have spam reported it and the name given to him is COVID scam. So how can I buy oxygen from such a number? So I hope my point is very clear that you have to be a little smart. Abhi in lockdown, hackers were making fake websites. This is one complaint which I've heard from everyone. Jutepejoota.com. So if you simply go to Google and you just type Jute Pe Joota, it was a very popular website which was selling you Joota. You will find almost 100 complaints on consumer complaint, Falana complaint. I paid online. I did not got my order. I paid order 3 sandal with my debit card. I ordered. Now, if I come to know that so many people are filing complaints, then why would I go to such a website? So online shopping, you have to be very careful. You have to check the website whether it is legitimate or not. What are the reviews of the website? Then only invest your money into such websites. So this is another 12th, very, very common. You will get a advertisement or a mail. You are a lucky winner of Google Pay reward. You have got 19999. Just click on it. The moment you click, ulta ho jayega. You can see the message here. You are paying 1999 and this money is going to some Paytm wallet. So please be very careful. These are all scams. Customer care. Oh my God, this is still prevalent. Just recently you heard a celebrity, Shabana Azmi, got duped. She searched for a number for buying liquor online and she lost good amount of money. Complaint is being filed in Mumbai Cyber Cell. So when you have to contact any customer care, please open the original application and look for the support. Don't go on Google and try to search because they have poisoned Google. So I was searching for a Paytm customer care number and I saw this first number and I called that number. If you check it on Truecaller, it is showing fraud. What is it showing? Fraud. And you know what is the modus operandi? They try to get into your mobile. They ask you to install remote support app, AnyDesk, TeamViewer, Quick Support. These are wonderful applications which we use for supporting customers. But the hacker will ask you to install and give the control. Now what happens? They can see your screen. And also they are asking you to install some apps like SMS Forwarder. So what happens if you install this application? All your OTPs will automatically be sent to the hacker. He will not ask you. And what will the complainant say? I have not given my OTP to anyone. But you have automatically forwarded by installing these apps. So be careful when you are installing any such application. Don't search for the numbers widely on open platform rather than go to the support mechanism of the company and ask for support. They can also create fake SMS alerts. Your Paytm KYC is suspended, we will call or blah blah. So be very careful and don't install any such application because the hacker is asking you to do so. Now this application is used positively also. Suppose Shivani has a problem in her computer and she is working from home. I am working from home and she asks help from me. Rakshit sir, can you help me with my computer? How will I do that? I will not go to her place. It is COVID time. I will ask her to install this application, give me the control, and from sitting here, I will fix her computer. So whatever I given, I have remotely supported the system and application. But now the other way around, the hacker is asking you to install, and after installing, you are giving the control to hacker, and now the hacker can see your mobile, your Google Pay, your Paytm, your wallet, your OTPs, and now your money is gone. So these are some interesting case studies. A person was cheated for 96,000 because he called the fake number. Another gentleman was cheated for 2,70,000. Another lady was cheated for 95,000. Another lady cheated for 35,000. Another for 92,000. Why? They called the wrong number and they spoke to the wrong number. And they followed the instruction of that wrong customer care number. OLX has been very popular, and especially the QR code scam, not only restricted to OLX, but other applications also. So the hackers, they call you. I want to buy your stuff. I want to pay you money. They first give you some 5 rupees or 10 rupees so that you gain trust. They will say whether you received it or not. You said, yes, I received it. And then to pay you money, they don't pay the money. They send you a QR code, or they can send you a fake screenshot. And the moment you scan the QR code, the direction is reversed. You lose your money rather than you get the money. So they have been doing the scam for rent agreement. Now, people who have been putting their property for advertisement that I want to rent out my flat. So one person will call, I'm a girl, I want to rent out your flat. I'm from so-and-so family. I can pay you advance also. And now everybody is in need of money these days. So he said, okay, you pay me. Bole, I'm sending you 5 rupees first. You check whether you got it. I said, yes, I got it. Well, now I'm sending you a QR code. You please scan the QR code. And the moment you scan the QR code, the reverse will happen. So be very careful in UPI. Whether you are requesting money or you are paying money, you have to be very clear with the direction. Don't share your UPI pin with anyone. Never, never, never. UPI pin gone, your account gone. Never share your last 6 digits of your card if somebody is asking. These last 6 digits of the cards can be again dangerous. Know your debit card. You have to be very careful about your CVV code. I would always advise you to erase your CVV code from the back side of your card. Don't share your CVV. And if you are doubting that your CVV is leaked, immediately get your card blocked and immediately get a new card issue. So India is the only country where a double verification is required on debit and credit cards. In out of the country, only CVV and expiry and payment is done. So these crimes are called carding. So a lot of people who get trapped by sharing their card number, expiry and CVV, they can be trapped into such crimes. Immediately raise a dispute form with the bank. Immediately raise a dispute form with the bank and inform the police to protect your debit and credit cards from data theft. Hackers have been very active in skimming the machines. So they are using these devices to install on the ATM machines. They are putting cameras on the keyboard. They are having these small skimmers, the waiters and petrol pump guys and shopping mall guys. And here a lot of digital payment was used during the lockdown. So it was again a gold mine for hackers. So they never, never, never give your card to anyone. Always swipe your own card with your own hands. Cover your hands when you enter your PIN. It is compulsory. Don't leave the slip in the dustbin of the bank. Tear it into pieces. Shred it into pieces. Check the ATM, whether the ATM is safe or not. So I'm just going to show you this small clip, if you can see on my screen, how the hackers are attacking the ATMs. So the hacker goes into a ATM. He takes this green skimmer and he pastes it on the real mouth so that he can get the magnetic tape of your cards. He can copy your card, and then only card will not help. He needs the pin also. So he takes a small plate. He puts a pinhole camera. He puts a battery. He puts a pen drive, and he sticks this plate on the top of the keyboard. So now he will take this plate and he will stick it here above the keyboard. So now whomsoever is entering his pin, the camera will be recording your fingers, so he will get your PIN also. This crime is called card cloning. Due to COVID, a lot of security guards were removed. No people were out, but still some people were still taking out and doing cash transactions. So the hackers, they had easy time to go into the ATM and brick the ATM. So one has to be very careful at the ATM. Then there was a new contactless card called the tap and pay card. Now these cards became so popular, especially during COVID, so that you're not touching physically anywhere. Your cards don't need sanitization. You're not carrying corona on your card. So people up to 5,000, the limit was 5,000. You can pay by just tapping the card, just by taking it near to the machine, and your payment is done. So hackers got this exploit also. So suppose this gentleman, you can see in the video, this gentleman, and we normally keep all our cards in leather wallets, and these are radio frequency cards. So look what the hacker did. Let me show you this video here. I hope I am audible and visible to all. There is no communication, it is only one side. So this gentleman, he was watching this news magazine, he touches the machine to his hip wallet, and that's it, the money is received. The machine says transaction processed. So no physical card required, no swiping required, no punching required. What happened? He simply he touches the machine to the hip pocket, and he takes out 5,000 rupees. So now how do I protect? I have to buy these sleeves. You can buy these sleeves from the online market or anywhere. These are aluminum folders, and you keep your card in these protected. Otherwise, you are standing in a queue and somebody comes behind you and tap on your hip pocket and money gone. So please be careful of these frauds. So this is another modus operandi which is being used by hackers to steal money from your wireless cards. Now, this is one advanced level robbery which we have recently witnessed in West Bengal, UP, and other places. The hackers, they exploit the machines with a malware. So they open the face of the ATM, they install a pen drive that is a malware in the ATM, and then he takes a Raspberry Pi and he plays some commands and he bypasses the switch and take out money. And we have recently seen in Ghaziabad, we had one case, we had West Bengal, we had it in many places. And they are targeting ATMs with vulnerabilities. So now it is high time that banks should also take care of the software updation, which we keep on saying to everyone, that please keep your software and firmwares updated. So I think the old machines in our ATMs, they also need updation. Otherwise, this advanced level robbery is going to be very dangerous. So I'm just going to show you a glimpse here. And you can see how this smart hacker could rob the whole ATM. He opened the ATM, he inserts a pen drive, he puts the machine malware, then he bypasses the password of the machine by pressing some keys on the keyboard. Then he used this advanced kind of a remote to communicate with the machine wirelessly because the pen drive is already installed. And then he generates a code. And after that, he just presses few buttons and the money starts coming out. Now you will see he pressed 2-3 buttons and the machine will start throwing out the money. And the whole ATM is gone. Here he keeps the remote back in his pocket and now the money will start coming. So no card required, nothing required, and just pressing few buttons and the money is coming out. He presses the button, here comes the money. He keeps the pocket money, again he presses the button and again the money comes. So the whole ATM was looted, and this is the new level crime. Coming to the last modus operandi, very common, very popular, and still people are not educated enough to protect themselves. I'm telling you, there has been an attack on corporates called man in the middle attack. So suppose you are receiving an email from me. My email is rakshit@info@rakshittandan.com. So whenever I send you an email, on my email, you will see a display name. The display name is Rakshit Tandon. So normally in inbox, what are we seeing? We are only seeing the display name that is called Rakshit Tandon. So I have sent an email to one of the corporates for my payment, right? And then I was not aware my email was compromised. I was not aware. Somebody had my password. He saw my mail. He immediately created a new mail, info@rakshitondon.com. He just changed the spelling. Instead of A, he made TO, right? But the display name was same. What was the display name? Rakshit Tandon. So now he sent an email to my buyer saying that my bank account is frozen due to GST audit. So please give my payment to my new beneficiary account. The same mail, same trail. Trail is also same. You know the trail word. The same trail, everything copy paste, but only what he changed the account number. There are two very crucial settings in your email. One is called filter and another is called forwarder. You have to be very careful of these settings. And number two, it is compulsory for all corporates to have an email security policy and two-factor authentication. And especially when all your people are working from home. So now Shivani is working from home and she receives a mail from the Vice President, Gaurav, that dear Shivani, this is a Friday and it's a weekend. All people are working so well at IMAI from home. So I want to give them an Amazon voucher of 10,000 rupees each. And because our Chief Financial Officer is also on a leave, so I would request you to just buy me 10 coupons and send it to me. I want to give them a surprise on weekend. Now Shivani is very happy that, oh my God, the Vice President has chosen me to do this beautiful job. So Shivani, with a personal debit card, she purchased 10 vouchers and sent it to that so-called Vice President email. Now on Monday morning, she calls the head office and say that, sir, I have paid 1 lakh rupees for those 10 vouchers, as you have said. So please ask the CFO to give my account. The CFO says, what voucher? Well, no, sir, the Vice President. Well, no, Vice President has not sent any email. And now when I checked my email, the email which was supposed to come from iamai.in, the email has come from iamia.in. Now, it was not the Vice President. It was a fake email. Can you see the domain changing here? So this is another very common attack which is happening due to work from home. So be very careful on your email. So if you are receiving an email from the bank and email ID is proper, securedbanking@hdfc.com, please account security update, you can be duped and cheated. They will take you to a fake website. The URL will be wrong. The design will be 100% same. And the moment you enter your credentials, thank you so much, your bank is gone. So my dear participants, I have just given you in nutshell the various modus operandi which have been used. Now, protection. Listen, Government of India started a national cyber crime reporting portal, cybercrime.gov.in, cybercrime.gov.in. It has also started a fraud management number 155260. You can see it is scrolling in red color. Delhi, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, Odisha, Arunachal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, Dadar, Nagar Haveli, Daman, Diu, Gujarat, Manipur. A new feature, Citizen Financial Fraud Cyber Reporting Management System, activated for prevention of money loss in case of cyber fraud. Immediately call 155260, 155260, 24/7. You can call on this number. There is this website. You can report other cyber crimes. You can report crime against women and children. You have some wonderful resources. You have a contact us page and you have a helpline number 155260. So immediately report. Suppose somebody has cheated you on an e-commerce website. You ordered for a mobile phone and he is sending you a soap bar. He is sending you a soap bar like Lux or Dettol or something. Consumer helpline.gov.in. Don't go to any private portal to report your complaint. It is a .gov.in. It's a helpline number, toll free, 14404. Government is taking initiatives to minimize these financial frauds. So you have the cybercrime portal, you have a consumer helpline portal. Any problem with a product, and you are free to write. And there are many methods. You can send, you can call on a toll-free number, you can SMS, you can use the NCH app, you can use the consumer app, or you can use the Umang app. So dear participants, for online consumer related frauds, you have consumerhelpline.gov.in. For cybercrime, you have cybercrime.gov.in. And these are the two portals where you can immediately report. And listen, one last thing. Whenever you face a financial fraud, what are the steps to be taken? Number one, within 3 days, you have to file a complaint, which you can do online. There, cybercrime.gov.in. Second, you have to fill the dispute form of the bank in case of a credit or a debit card fraud. Dispute form of the bank that will be provided to you by bank. Immediately fill, and they will give you an acknowledgement number. And today, listen, whenever you have a money fraud and you call the bank for blocking, always use the word debit freeze. Don't say that block my ATM, block my mobile banking. No, 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 no. You will say debit freeze. There are 30 methods of taking out money from your account. Debit card, credit card, UPI, Google Pay, Paytm, Razorpay, PhonePe, MobiWik, Bheem, mobile banking, net banking, NEFT, RTGS. There are so many doors. So please use debit freeze and always ask for an acknowledgement number from the bank. And what is the RBI guideline? The RBI says that suppose I suffered a fraud of 100 rupees and I informed the bank and I have the acknowledgement number. After informing again, I lost 5,000 rupees. So then this 5,000 rupees is the liability of the bank to pay you. I hope I'm clear. Number one, if you are a victim of cloning or carding in a foreign country, data breach, again, bank is liable to pay your money. But if you are a victim of clicking on a fake link, calling a fake customer care number, scanning the wrong QR code, giving your OTP to the hacker, in that case, bank is not liable for your money. So the liability has to be checked, and you can see and check the RBI guidelines. And if the bank is not responding, then you can complain to the digital ombudsman. Every bank have a digital ombudsman, and this complaint can only be done after 1 month. So within 1 month, if the bank is not returning your money, then you go to the digital ombudsman. So I have told you the redressal part. I have told you the words to be used. Always use debit freeze when you have an incident in your bank. I received a message in the morning, 5,000 rupee deducted, and I have not paid this money. Immediately put a debit freeze. My SIM card has been swapped by the hacker. Immediately put a debit freeze. And you can always remove this debit freeze when everything is fine. So be very careful. And one last thing, whenever you lose your phone, or you lost your phone, or somebody stolen your phone, the first thing to be done is block your SIM card. And the second thing to be done is reissue your SIM card. Don't wait for this. Don't wait. Don't think that I will find my phone. The person will be very good. He will return my phone. I'm calling my number. Don't do that. Today, all my digital money is directly connected to my digital identity. So my digital identity needs to be protected, whether it is your email or whether it is your SIM card. So with this information, I have taken exactly the time I was allotted. Now I'll come back to the platform to take some of the questions. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and LinkedIn. And if you need any help or assistance or guidance, I'm always there. And to connect with me, it's very easy. Online, you can find me. I will come and take some questions if I have some questions. Shivani, do we have some questions? You're not audible, Shivani. You're on mute.
We don't have any questions from the audience.
Okay.
So
I hope everything is clear to them.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you, audience, and thank you, Shivani, for hosting this event on financial frauds. Tomorrow again we are meeting for a very interesting panel discussion at around same time. with some very good experts coming in, and we'll be discussing about how to manage risk in business. So I would like to invite my audience back to that panel session. If you are interested, do join us. And you don't have any questions, so we'll say thank you and goodbye. So namaskar and Jai Hind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful workshop. Another thank you goes out to all our attendees as well who were here. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.